Hey there, TJ here, and welcome to Yeah The Dees, where I'm going through this incredibly heartbreaking and disappointing loss to the Blues in the semi-final of the 2023 Toyota AFL Premiership season. We'll be going through round 3 of the AFLW, which is much more enjoyable to go through. I'll chat about that later. But first, I just really wanted to acknowledge the passing of Ron Barassi. It was a very, very, very sad weekend for Melbourne supporters, with the result on Friday night and then the news on Saturday of Ron Barassi passing away. I don't know if there's a bigger legend of a football club in Australian culture. He's been one of the biggest differences in the game over decades and decades of the game, and is so influential and so impactful in what's happened for our football club, but also for other football clubs. To win 6 flags as a player with us, it was absolutely incredible. To go on and win 2 more flags as a coach for 2 other clubs, and at one stage with the 2 he won at North Melbourne being their only flags up until 1996 and 99. He came back to the club and brought Jim Steins to us when he coached in the 80s. He didn't have the best coaching record in the 80s, and that was pretty much when I was born, so I didn't get to see that live, but he was instrumental in bringing Jim Steins to the club, who was instrumental in empowering Max Gawn, who has gone on to become our first premiership captain since Ron Barassi. So Ron Barassi got the butterfly effect going for us to get our next flag. So I just really wanted to acknowledge that and acknowledge him. He's an absolute legend of the game. I never got to meet him, but I've heard great things about him and the energy that he puts around people. So, Vale Ron Barassi, thank you for everything you did for the Melbourne Football Club and everything that you did for the AFL. This game has just been so difficult to come to terms with because it's just so close. And so much to think about when it comes down to it. It was just... There's about 80 moments throughout this game that if they changed, we win. And you could pick any one of those moments, and that's all that needs to change. It's just one of those for the result to be the other way. That's how close it was. We can try and pick where this was lost. It could have been lost at selection. Some people could have been lost with the sub-selection. Could have been lost at a few other things. But really, when it comes down to it, we gave ourselves enough chances to kick a winning score. We had 26 scoring shots on the day. And that is enough to kick a winning score. Bad kicking is bad footy. And they kick points instead of goals when it comes down to it. What does make this loss even worse is the toxic AFL media. Like, the way that they're coming at us is absolutely disgraceful and disgusting. And the way they try to make Melbourne supporters feel about this team is horrible. We are a bloody good side. We're a bloody good side that has had a really, really bad couple of weeks that really wasn't our fault. I feel really robbed from this year. I feel really badly done by. And there's a few factors coming into why I feel so badly done by. The first one is the extension of the season and the gather round. In that extra round that we had at the end of the year, Melksham does his knee. The other complaint I have is, of course, the Petrarca goal at the end of the Carlton game, which pushed us out of a home final. Absolutely horrific. The next choice was Braden Maynard's choice in the final game to knock out Angus Brayshaw. Whether you like it or not, he went to put a hit on and he got him in the wrong spot, yet still got off. That is absolutely fucking disgraceful and I believe completely derailed the finals. It made that little bit of difference. Now, we can talk about the forward line and the forward line structure. That's also been pretty horrible, but we still gave ourselves enough chance to win with that problem being a part of our side. Now we can talk about personnel as well. Jake Melksham going down, Harrison Petty going down, Ben Brown not being fit. He was fantastic at the start of the year, started with multiple 3-goal games. When Ben Brown is fit and playing in our side, we look 100% better. We do. But I don't know what's going to happen with him this off-season. He hasn't played since very late in the season and he only was able to get a couple of games out of his knee. He is been fantastic at the AFLW as a forwards coach. Can he become our forwards coach? Because Greg Stafford has not changed a thing all year. Now, we did see some creativity in this game against the Blues after half-time when they put Cozzy at full forward and had him run at the ball like a proper forward should. But why didn't we see that from the other forwards? There's many decisions throughout this game that could be changed. Cozzy's reversal of a shot on goal when Joel Smith had taken a mark, he would have kicked an easy goal. He was kicking great that day. 19 to 26 in free kicks. Why are we giving away so many free kicks? There was a few dubious free kicks that are in there that made me think that things were looking a bit sus, especially the Sard non-insufficient intent call that happened in the last quarter. The 5 or 6 50-metre penalties. I don't know how many times you as a player need to be told to come back to the 9, but you should bloody well know to come back to the 9. Why are people running across the mark? We as a football club and a supporter base have had a grand final cost from us from running across the mark. You think that maybe it would be important to the football club to kind of tell the players, and that would be really, really important to acknowledge that maybe don't bend or break the most simple rules. Tom Sparrow throwing the bloke into the fence. Why? Why do you have to do that? You know what I mean? Like, I get that we were jumped a little bit by Collingwood the week before and didn't show any toughness, but the toughness showed in this game was just in ill discipline. Cozzy trying to be tough, JVR up against McStay trying to fly the flag, being tough and not getting the results done and not doing it well. And we've got to be smarter as a football club and got to be better as a playing group. The playing group lost their heads after Brayshaw got knocked out and still lost 2 games by a combined 9 points. By a combined 2 kicks of the footy. That's what we'll go down in this final series as. That's how bloody close we are because we're a bloody good football side. Do not let the media rewrite this as us bombing out and blowing 2 seasons in a row. Last year, we were cooked. We were cooked going into the final series. We were not fit enough. We had all the injuries and they still went in with that team and they backed the team and we lost. It was bad coaching decisions. It was bad fitness decisions. That's what cost us 2022. In 2023, what has cost us is bad kicking and some selection issues. Now, I 100% would have picked Grundy for both of these games. When it comes down to it, he's a $650,000 a year player, even though I don't really like to concentrate on how much players get paid. I think it's irrelevant. But JVR went out. He was the ruck relief. And we played Christian Petrarca and Tom McDonald in the ruck on Friday night, which was an absolute joke. I think Tom McDonald's cooked. He brought 0 value to either of those games. I think anybody else could have made a bit more of an impact in those games, and I just can't understand for the life of me how he wasn't subbed off for Josh Shuckey just to create a bit more pace in that forward line and just have someone different because he just wasn't doing anything. It was just such a waste of a position on the ground. And I get that, you know, Grundy obviously wasn't part of the plans going forward, but once Melksham got injured and there was a spot in the forward line for someone to come in, he was the player that should have come in. And we could see on Friday night the impact that Tomlinson had being in the side, the impact that Spargo had being in the side because he's got clean kicking. He didn't get a lot of the ball, but every time he does deliver it well and makes impact with it. And we also saw the impact that Jordan had. He had a pretty decent impact in the first half of the Carlton game. Kind of wavered a little bit out in the second half, but it shows that we could have used him in that first round instead of Laurie as being the sub. So 2 really, really poor sub choices in hindsight. Probably in pre-sight for us. A lot of us supporters all wondered what the hell is going on here. So yeah, selection table was bad and bad kicking's bad footy. But when it comes down to our process, our contest and defense, the way that we move the ball up and down the ground up until we come to the forward 50 is absolutely fine. The way the forwards move in the forward line and the options that they give for the midfield to try and kick to them is very deplorable. And that rests on Greg Stafford's shoulders. And that is the only big coaching change I would love to see for next year, is that we get a proper forwards coach. Because this problem hasn't changed in years, and they either don't think it's a problem because of the amount of supply they get, because we still got enough to kick 9-17. So all of that's right. But where I see it is that the forwards aren't giving themselves the best opportunity to get the ball the easiest way. And that's why other teams look like they do it so much easier against us, because they give their forwards, they put the ball in their forwards' best advantage. And that's all we needed to do. It's a failed finals campaign, but we definitely had the deck stacked against us by, what happened in those games. I feel like going in with Shaki and then not being used at all is just an absolute waste. It's a bad coaching move. And I really feel bad for Michael Hibberd. Announcing his retirement, saying, yeah, boys, let's go, 3 more games left, and then he gets dropped and he never gets a retirement game. I am heartbroken for that bloke. Like, that is just so wrong. Absolutely so wrong. So a lot of people are blaming Max Gawn for that, and there's that photo of him touching the ball from Clayton Oliver's kick. The Carlton player's got 2 fingers on it in the same photo. He's trying to push the ball back into play so we can get a second crack at it. And people are saying that Max Gawn's cost us a prelim berth. It's just so wrong. Like, why are you shitting on a captain who's an amazing bloke who, was one of the only blokes that was able to clunk marks, and they want to try and throw it on his shoulders and throw the shade at him? No, that's not fair. You can see the Carlton bloke's fingers on the ball, but they're all going to blame Max instead of being like, oh, how good is it that Carlton player got a finger to it? So ridiculous. I'm not down with the AFL trying to rewrite history and saying that we're bowed out and failed 2 years in a row. We're banged up with injuries last year going into that final series, very similar to how Port is this year, where they got bailed out in straight sets. Also very interesting to see 2 top 4 teams get bailed out of the finals with 2 losses in a row. In the end, for this whole season, we had an average losing margin of like 8 points. That's how close we are. We're in every single fucking game, where 10 years ago, we weren't anywhere close to any game. It is much better to be losing in finals than to be losing 18 games a year. Like, that's where we've come from a support, like from a club base. 10 years ago, we won 2 games. And now we're upset if we lose 2 games. Like, that's how far we've come as a club, and we should all be very, very proud of where Melbourne are, because the players don't give up. They might have some crappy forward systems, but the players that are in there are elite, and they're elite in their work ethic to try and get the job done. We got such a young core. I saw Nathan Jones's comments on Triple M during the week that, like, where's the younger talent? Mate, how rude do you have to be? Like, just because you didn't get your premiership, you're going to shit all over the team that gave you a career? Like, I'm so unhappy with Nathan Jones and the way that he spoke about the talent underneath. I'll tell you where the talent is, mate. Jacob Van Rooyen, 20 years old. Charlie Spargo, 23 years old. Jake Bowie, 21 years old. Matthew Jefferson, we haven't seen him yet. He's 19. Blake Howes is 20. Looks really good, but was injured throughout the year. Trent Rivers is 22. Tom Sparrow is 23. Harrison Petty, who was the dead-eyed dick before he got injured, 23 years old. Cozzy Pickett's 22 years old, but we all forget that because he's almost a 100-game player already. Tajai Woden, one of the best kicks I've seen in the side, 20 years old. Judd McVie is only 20 years old. Disco, really unlucky when he's had a crack, but when he's in, he looks like he can lock down in that back line. 21 years old. We've got 4 picks inside the top 30 this year. 4. We've got a pick 5 and a pick 15 or whatever bloody well is. We're set. When it comes down to it, Track, Clayton Oliver, Jake Lever, Angus Brayshaw, Christian Salem, all of them are signed up for another 6 years. We've got another 6 years of this. So I'm not sure, like Max and Stephen May are getting old, and that's it. And T-Mac and Ben Brown. Like, they're the 4 players that might go in the next 3-4 years. But Max is signed for another 2 seasons, and he'll probably get another one. Stephen May's signed for another 2 seasons, and he'll probably get another one after that. Like, these guys aren't going to really drop off a cliff, when it comes down to it. They're too smart of a player footy IQ for them to completely drop off. We could easily have a year with Max Gawn at full forward and taking marks and just work on his kicking because he's one of the worst kicks in the league. But that's just all it is. We just didn't convert and take our goal chances, and everyone wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, no, mate, no. The club's in a great position. It's never been in a better position, at least since the 60s as far as I'm concerned. We just didn't convert and take our goal scoring chances. Our finals goal efficiency was 34.4%. We had 51 shots on goal compared to 36 from our opponents, and we couldn't get a win in either of those matches. Like, that's just where it's at. If our kicking efficiency increased by 5%, we'd win both of those games. If it increased by 2%, we'd probably win both of those games. But yeah, look, some really, really bad mistakes throughout that game that the players will rue. They'll get better from it. There's a lot of, young players in this side that will need to mature. And we'll have plenty of cap space to do it with too. Like Grundy's going to go to Sydney. So that's $650,000 a year that's cleared up. Looks like James Harms is going to get moved on. That's another $500,000 that we'll get back in the salary cap. What's going to happen with Ben Brown? Not sure. Like, is T-Mac going to stay under contract for next year? Because both Ben Brown and Tom McDonald have got contracts for next year. Is Track going to play more forward next year? Is Rivers going to move into the midfield? We don't know, but we've got plenty of assets and we're in a really, really good space to go and have a look at what we can do. I didn't want to make today about the umpiring, but I did think that it was really, really sus. And essentially, you got to be better than that. You got to, put your shots away, put on the scoreboard pressure and take the umpires out of the game. They're going to make mistakes, whether it's rigged or bullshit or whatever, but that was my my takeaway from the games initially straight away was, fuck, we got absolutely rolled then, like absolutely robbed. Like, it was so biased. But, when it comes down to it, we gave ourselves enough opportunities to win, and the boys didn't get goals on the board. So that's pretty much it there. Let's I'll show you the coaches' votes and give my votes for the finals MVP, and then we'll roll into the AFLW game. So the coaches' votes look like this, which means that they're split up like this. And then for the finals MVP votes, I gave Christian Petrarca the one vote, tried really, really hard to get the job done, kicked 1 goal, 3 if he was a bit straighter, then hey, that might be done. Gave 2 votes to Keziah Pickett, despite all of his disciplinary issues. He looked like he was going to be the game changer and the game winner for us for a lot of the second half. Gave 3 votes to Judd McVie, who had some really, really, really incredible spoils and disposals, especially clutch later in the game. Gave 4 votes to Joel Smith, who kicked 3 goals for us for the day. And I'd said to my dad halfway through the game, it looks like he's got a 5 bag in him, but he just didn't quite get there. 5 votes to Jake Lever, who was incredible, especially in that first quarter, intercepting absolutely everything and reading the ball just as well as anyone I've ever seen. But 6 votes to Stephen May, who had another incredible game. He's still the best defender I've ever seen, and I hope we get a couple more years out of him and a couple more cracks at some premierships, because my God, does he deserve another 1 or 2 with how good of a player he is. So for the finals MVP, that makes Stephen May our best player in finals with a total of 11 votes. Max Gawn finished with 6 and Jake Lever finished with 5. On to the AFLW now, and a much more enjoyable result and easier game to watch. They are steamrolling at the moment, absolutely steamrolling. They are just incredible and have amazing forward craft, which I think has possibly come from their forward coach, Ben Brown, who's been there. Alyssa Bannon went down pretty early in that first quarter, rolled her ankle badly after getting shirt fronted. It was a bit of an ugly incident. But we swung Maddie Gay forward there, and she was just clunking them like a big full forward. It was really fun to watch her go to work in that forward line. And the game just, we absolutely dominated. Doesn't matter that my head's there in front of the Western Bulldogs last quarter score, because they didn't score, so it's just the same as the third quarter. Got on top early, kicked the first 2 goals of the game, and very disappointing for us to give away a goal in the last few seconds of that quarter. It was 2 seconds remaining, and we gave up that goal. Just pretty disappointing. Missed a few opportunities throughout the corner, but played very well. Dominated possession in the first. I'm not sure which commentator it was, but she said squirt instead of handball. Like, this person squirted the ball out 4 or 5 times in the first 10 minutes of the game, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you just say handball? Like, squirt's not a cool word. Like, you Google it, you get a very different result of what squirting is. So maybe be a bit more appropriate when you're commentating football. Yeah, just a real weird one. Second quarter was good. My only concern was giving away a couple of late goals, but there was a moment I liked where Lily Mithen gave away a 50-metre penalty when Ellie Blackburn got holding the ball and was just giving Tyler Hanks a bit of crap about it, like telling her about it, which you shouldn't really do when you're behind on the scoreboard. And then Lily just ran over and decked her for it. Just went, bang, see you later. Like, you don't treat my teammate like that. Gave away a 50. I actually really loved her standing up for her teammate and not letting Ellie get her back up and get going over it. You know what I mean? Like, she wanted to intimidate her and try and throw on, some bravado. And Lily just went, no, I'm just going to put you back down. I'm going to put you back down a peg. Because she's a great player, Ellie Blackburn. Like, she carries that Western Bulldogs side to try to be competitive. You know, we've played them 10 times and beaten them 10 times, but whenever she plays, like she tries their best to do it. We're just better. You know, there was some really, really good play throughout this quarter. Like Purcell wasn't able to capitalize on an easy shot on goal after some really great running carry. The Dogs had a really good 5-10 minutes in this quarter and towards the end and put those 2 in a row. We managed to get a 50-minute penalty with 6 seconds to go where Tyler Hanks almost gave the handball off, but just absolutely drilled it from 40 to bring it back to a 16-point lead at halftime. So kind of got that late goal from the other quarter back, I guess. But yeah, 16 points at halftime. Probably should have been a little bit more with the way we were playing. But being at Casey, it's real windy and real tough sometimes to kick. Third quarter, both teams got 3 goals each that quarter. There was a bit of a gap at the start, but as the team started to fatigue, then yeah, we got out and got some goals sort of towards the end. So Shelley Heath out of the middle to chain through with Zanka was a highlight from that quarter. Dogs definitely lifted their intensity, but we were able to match them but lost that quarter by 2 points, so lead by 14. But yeah, we go into the fourth quarter, also known as Dees time, in my opinion, and we hold them scoreless, which is pretty much what we've been doing to teams so far this year, and pack on another 4 goals for, so add on another 28 points and go out, 41-point winners, 42-point winners. It's always great when you double a team score. It's very enjoyable to watch us do that. The Bulldogs really struggled to transition the ball with our great midfielders and defenders. We're just above a level of these teams with our structure now and the way that we move the ball and the amount of just clean disposal that's really come from our midfielders and forwards. Eliza McNamara is a huge addition back in because of her clean kicking. Kate Hoare's gone to another level with her marking and kicking. Tyler Hanks, huge games this year. She just is a ready-made footballer, just absolutely killing it. Kicked 8 straight from set shots here, which is something I would love to be able to say about the men's team. The girls are doing everything that they're good at is what the guys were missing in these last few games. Just the forward structure, the open forward lines, movement, great contested marking, and kicking straight. We won this game through intercept and transition. We intercept 44 defensive 50 chains from the Bulldogs and got a return of 5 goals for from that. So excellent job there by the girls. Let's get into the coaches' votes and then we'll just wrap up. So this is how the coaches' votes were for the girls. Tyler Hanks with the perfect 10. Ellie Blackburn getting 4 from each coaches and the rest. So that means that it was split up pretty much like this with Tyler Hanks and Ellie Blackburn at the top. And Kate Hoff following third with a couple of different players underneath. As for my votes, I gave Lily Mithen the 1 vote. Thought she was great, flew the flag, and did another really solid job around the ground. Gave 2 votes to Maddie Gay, who was swung forward after Alyssa Madden's injury and came away with 2 goals. Gave 3 to Blythe and Macon, who I felt was a key cog in our Lincoln movement. She had like 520 metres gained for the game. Had plenty of marks, plenty of tackles, just did all the tough stuff that we needed to get done. Gave 4 to Paxi Paxman, had 6 marks, 2 goals, and just another great midfield game. Awesome return after having last week off. 5 votes for Kate Hoare, who had another great game, leading by example and kicking a few goals. But of course, Tyler Hanks, just being that incredible midfielder, gets the 6 votes. So that takes us to our leaderboard, which has Kate Hoare leading on 16 with Tyler Hanks on 14, and they are streaming away from the rest of the group with Shelley Heath on 6, Alyssa Bannon on 5, Lauren Pearce and Paxi Paxman on 4. Yeah, so that's it for the men's season for the year. I'll continue on doing weekly episodes as the AFLW season continues because, my God, they are a great team to get on and watch, so definitely going to watch that. I'll do some trade wrap-ups and some thoughts on the list and things throughout the year. I'll probably do a bit more of a season digest at some point. But yeah, just wanted to leave this game to just chat about the Carlton game and the finals and sort of just where we're at in the media reaction and just... I hope I can calm some of you Melbourne supporters out there that it's really not all doom and gloom. We're not missing our premiership window. The way that we're set up is that we're very much set up to do a Geelong run where we're going to compete in finals for 9 out of the next 10 years. If we keep going the way that we're going, we've got a great recruitment team. They bring in great players. We've got great trainers. We've got a great system that works. We just need to refine our kicking and rein in a bit of discipline. So I'm really sorry that it didn't happen for us Dees fans. I'm as heartbroken as you guys are, but I've waited my whole life to see a flag, and if I have to wait 2 seasons or maybe 3 to see another one, it's really not that bad. It's really not. Yeah, it's not the dynasty we all thought that we might be rolling into off, performances in that 2021 final series that were the best that we'd ever seen. But that's just not how sport can be sometimes. Sport is very cruel a lot of the time, and we've had a very cruel end to our season. But it is not time to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's not time to throw Simon Goodman out with it either. He is a fantastic coach. He has the players. He has some really great strategies in the way that he approaches football. And we should all back him and support him and back the players and know that they're going to do better. They're going to do better. They're hurting as much as we are, that's for sure. This is what they dedicate their lives to. They dedicate their lives to playing footy where we dedicate our weekends to it. So it's, have faith, Dees fans. We'll get there. But yeah, I'll see you next week for a round 4 AFLW review after we go and smash the Hawks down in Frankston. So thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Yeah The Dees. I'll chat to you next week. Bye.
Petrarca! Oh wow! How good is that?
Sparrow to make it a 3-goal, 3-quarter night lead. He's got it!
Surely not another one. Handball to Oliver, streaming through. Bang! Bang, bang, bang!
Melbourne are the premiers for 2021.
And it's just so special for such our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.